Welcome to This Explainer. When you're watching a game, it's really easy to just see 22 guys crashing into each other. Just total high-impact chaos. But what we're actually looking at, it's a meticulously choreographed dance. Literally every single step, every glance, and every angle is totally calculated. So today, we're going to break down that choreography and get into the actual player actions that make an offense tick.
Here's our playbook for today. We'll start with the anatomy of run plays, move on to orchestrating the pass game, dig into the gritty art of blocking, cover turnovers and ball security, and finally, wrap it all up with how these offensive roles are actually executed.
All right, Section 1, the anatomy of run plays, brute force and misdirection. Let's get right into it. So we start on the ground. Look, run plays are absolutely the punchy foundation of ball control. This is how you eat up the clock, punish a defense that gets way too spread out, and basically set up everything else you want to do. And sure, there's a crazy variety of ways to move the ball on the ground, right? Inside runs, wide sweeps, tosses, counters, but the whole shebang starts with the foundational handoff. And it isn't just randomly tossing the ball to a guy. It's actually a super specific mechanical action. The quarterback extends the ball, and the running back literally forms a pocket with their arms. Top arm straight across the chest, bottom arm below. It's a perfect little cradle so the ball can be placed right in there, letting the runner explode into the hole without ever breaking stride. But then you mix in strategic misdirection. And that brings us to the draw play. Think of the draw play as a pretty brilliant solution to a very specific problem. Let's say the defensive line is just pinning their ears back, rushing your passer way too aggressively. Well, you use that against them. The quarterback drops back, the offensive line actually retreats like they're pass blocking, and then bam, at the absolute last second, you hand off the ball right into that massive empty space the rushing defenders just vacated. It's honestly one of the most effective counterpunches in the game. Now, what about when the quarterback takes off running? Well, it's absolutely crucial to tell the difference between a meticulously planned keeper and a completely panic-induced scramble. A keeper is pure offensive design. It usually involves a fake handoff to get the quarterback cleanly out around the edge. A scramble? That's a desperate improvised sprint that happens when the pass protection completely breaks down, the pocket collapses, and the quarterback realizes, uh-oh, I need to rely entirely on my raw athleticism right now just to survive and maybe get a few positive yards.
Moving on to Section 2, orchestrating the pass game, timing and aerial choreography.
Okay, so if the run game is all about physical punishment, the pass game is this crazy high-speed processing test where timing is literally everything. Passing plays are incredibly sequential. We're talking about executing 4 highly precise steps in just a matter of seconds. You've got the pre-snap read, the quarterback's drop back, the receivers running their routes, and then, finally, the throw. And the cognitive load required right there at step 1, it's staggering. Let's take a closer look at that. During that pre-snap read, before the ball is even snapped, the quarterback is basically trying to solve a high-stakes puzzle. Are the defenders aggressively matching up man-to-man, like in a cover 0 or cover 1 scheme where they can potentially get burned over the top? Or is the defense playing it safer, splitting the field into distinct deep zones like a cover 2, 3, or 4? The quarterback has to figure this out instantly, and if they see something they don't like, they have to shout an audible at the line of scrimmage, totally changing the play design before that play clock hits 0. Now, if the offense has actually been successful at establishing that bruising run game we were just talking about, it unlocks one of the most efficient tools in football, play action. The quarterback fakes the handoff first and then drops back to pass. This fake totally freezes the linebackers and safeties because they've been conditioned all game to respect the run. And the numbers back this up. Studies consistently show that quarterbacks hit higher completion rates and get more yards per attempt on play-action throws compared to standard dropbacks. It just manipulates the defense's instincts perfectly. And receivers aren't just out there running around the yard randomly. They are running precise distances with incredibly sharp cuts, all perfectly timed to the quarterback's dropback. A quick 3-step drop, that aligns perfectly with a fast slant or out route, getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands in under 2 seconds. But a deeper 7-step drop, that buys time for a go, a post, or a corner route way down the field. Everything is on a highly synchronized timer. Which brings us to Section 3, the art of blocking, the gritty trench work. Listen, all of that beautiful aerial choreography and precise route running we just covered, it absolutely does not matter without the gritty physical trench work of blocking. It really is the invisible engine of the offense. And blocking isn't just blindly shoving another guy, it's tactical obstruction. A drive block is your basic run block, firing off the line to literally drive a defender backward. A pass block uses wide sets and quick hands to gracefully redirect rushers away from the pocket. A double team uses two linemen to overpower one dominant defender. Then you have these dynamic movements like a pull block, where a heavy 300-pound guard steps back and runs laterally across the formation to lead the way. I mean, that is a completely terrifying prospect for anyone standing in their path. You also have chip blocks, where a player delivers a quick hit before running a route, and crack blocks, where a wide receiver sneaks inside to totally blindside a linebacker. Every single play requires a meticulously coordinated blocking scheme.
All right, Section 4, turnovers and ball security, the catastrophic impact. So here's the thing. All this carefully crafted offensive momentum, all those blocked runs and perfectly timed passes, they can be instantly destroyed by a single game-changing turnover. The defense isn't just out there trying to tackle, they are constantly hunting to steal the football. And turnovers come in so many different flavors. You've got the devastating blindside strip sack on a quarterback, a strip tackle where a defender just actively punches the ball out, or a muffed punt where the returner simply drops the kick. In the passing game, a tipped ball at the line of scrimmage is completely up for grabs. And a savvy cornerback can execute a jump route, meaning they recognize the pattern early, cut right in front of the receiver, and take the interception all the way back to the house for a pick six. To survive this constant super aggressive danger, coaches absolutely relentlessly drill something called the 5 points of pressure. It's literally an anatomical checklist for securing the football. Fingertips, palm, wrist, forearm, and bicep. They all have to be pressed against the ball simultaneously. It is hammered into the brain of every single ball carrier to keep that ball high and tight against the chest, and to wrap it up with both hands right before contact. And finally, Section 5, executing the offensive roles. The performers. Let's tie it all together. Let's see how all this choreography actually builds together by looking at our primary offensive performers, starting with the quarterback. Obviously, they're the ultimate on-field manager, but their role shifts dramatically depending on the play call. On a run play, they're the ball handler and the faker. They have to sell that handoff with total conviction. But on a pass play, they transform into a rapid-fire decision-maker. They're taking the snap, executing the drop, sensing the pocket pressure around them, cycling through their read progression, and delivering an incredibly accurate throw. And this dynamic role leads to some absolutely fascinating micro-decisions, specifically the mesh point on read option plays. The mesh point is that exact split-second moment the quarterback's hands meet the running back's midsection. In that tiny fraction of a second, the quarterback is staring straight at a single, unblocked defensive end. If that defender crashes down toward the running back, the QB pulls the ball and runs it themselves. But if the defender stays put to contain the QB, they hand it off to the running back. It is just incredibly fast, high-stakes processing. Next up, the running back. On a run play, they are obviously the primary ball carrier. They need incredible vision, the patience to wait for their blocks to develop, and then a sudden, explosive burst to hit the hole. But honestly, on a pass play, their role is just as vital. They become a critical pass protector. They're forced to step up into the gap and firmly block 250-pound blitzing linebackers. And hey, if no one blitzes, they release out of the backfield and become a safety valve, a check-down target for the quarterback if everyone else is covered. Finally, the wide receiver. Look, we all know them as the primary pass targets, right? They're the masters of the route stem, using subtle little head fakes to set up their final sharp cut to gain separation. But what goes largely unnoticed is their crucial role as blockers on run plays. Remember those crack blocks we talked about earlier? An unglamorous, super gritty block by a wide receiver on a crashing safety is very often the magical ingredient that turns a routine 5-yard outside sweep into a massive, explosive touchdown. Every single player matters on every single down. So after breaking down this massive playbook of runs, precise passing geometries, gritty blocking, and shifting player roles, we really have to ask ourselves a fundamental question about what we're actually watching when we tune in on Sundays. What actually dictates success on the gridiron? Is the winner determined just by raw, brute athleticism, or is it determined by which team executes this incredibly complex, high-speed choreography with the absolute fewest mistakes? Football truly is a game of physical chess. So the next time you sit down on a Sunday to watch a game, look closely at the trenches, watch the receiver stems. I challenge you, are you just watching the chaos, or are you finally seeing the choreography? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep looking for the strategy behind the action.